I'm recording this before going into work this time. I have a job now, guys. Holly's employed. Hello! It's nice to see you. Or meet you. That depends. My name on the internet is Holly Hart, and that's good enough for me, and I was, up until earlier this year, a licensed esthetician. Which you probably already knew. You might be asking yourself, Holly, why would I already know that? I don't know you. Why do you think I know you? You make these judgments of people that you've never even met. This is the internet. I've never heard of you before. First of all, hurtful. Second of all, that's because this is a part 2, actually. Now, I'm not going to get into why I didn't renew my license, because I did that in the first part, but what I will say is that an esthetician is somebody who looks at skin care. Not skin health, but skin care. Very important distinction. That's important because an esthetician cannot and should not be diagnosing you with any skin conditions. That being said, we're going to diagnose skin conditions today. To reiterate, and I'm saying this slowly because it's very important, I am not licensed, I am not a dermatologist. This is all just for fun. This is all speculation, and it's basically a reason for me to info dump. Anyways, today we'll be looking at Harrison, Neris, and Space Kid, because those 3 are my favorites. Alright, we're getting into it now.
We're starting with Harrison. It's my boy Harrison. I love Harrison so much. He's like my favorite character. He is a little magic guy who does little magic tricks, and he's very friendly and fun, and he has an accent, and he's adorable, and he's basically like, he's my favorite of all favorite characters, honestly. For a quick refresher, for our scales, we have their Fitzpatrick scale, if they produce a lot of oil, their acne grades, if they have any disorders or conditions, what kind of routine I recommend, and what kind of service I think they'd like. For Harrison, I'm going to put him at a Fitzpatrick 2, meaning he's a little bit more tan than Neil is, because Neil's a Fitz 1, but he does still burn, so he doesn't tan very well. He's, a little bit more sun exposure. For oil production, I think, honestly, I could see him having either normal or oily skin, but I'm going to go with oily, just because, I don't know, that feels right to me. I feel like he's a bit of a greasy guy, Oily skin does tend to come with more acne problems, but from what I've seen in the show, Harrison doesn't actually have a whole lot of acne. He's never complained about it like some characters have. It's never been shown. He has no face close-up, so there's not much to go off of there. So I'm going to put him at an acne grade 2. Speaking of no complaints, I don't think Harrison actually has any skin problems or disorders that are really that discernible or something that should be noted. If he has anything at all, I think it's just a weird skin feel. Like clammy, I guess. I don't know. He gives like clammy vibes to me. I feel like a very snake-like man. Since he does have oily skin, we do want to focus a little bit more on cleansing instead of anything else, just because, it's really important to not let that oil production sort of overwhelm you, especially in summer, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot. It can make your face feel really heavy and make you feel really gross. And because that's something we especially don't want him dealing with in the summer, we are going to go with a pretty heavy routine. And what's nice is that I think Harrison would actually kind of appreciate a heavier routine. He seems like that kind of guy who's like into skincare because it makes him look better on stage, And Preston's going to be the same way. So for his routine, I'm going to say Harrison should cleanse his face twice with a foam or a gel cleanser. I recommend using one of each just because I like a little variety, but you can use the same one twice. It doesn't really matter all that much. Next, I would recommend a gentle exfoliator. So that's going to be something like acne pads or some kind of liquid exfoliation that's not going to be too damaging for the skin. That would be once a week. Once a week maximum. My rule is always once a week for exfoliation, especially if you barely even need it. And he barely even needs it. Next in the routine is a cooling or soothing mask. I'd recommend a clay mask just because I like how they feel a little bit better, and it might be a better idea given how much oil he tends to have. Anything just relaxing would be good for him. It doesn't need to go too heavy with it. And then after that, any kind of moisturizer that's more of a watery texture that's going to be the least irritating. Now for services, I don't think Harrison is a massive fan of services, not because he doesn't like being touched or anything. I just think it's not his vibe, and honestly, that's okay. I think the most he'd go for is maybe a 30-minute facial. That's all we got for Harrison, so now it's time for Neris. Neris is one of, the best characters. She's one of the fan favorites. She calls herself Neris the Cute, and she's there for D&D camp, which is adorable. She's adorable. She's a little cutie patootie. Oh my goodness. She's a very social person. She is friends with Nikki and Dolph. She just fucking hates Harrison, with a burning passion, and I like to think in my heart of hearts that she is absolutely friends with Arid. For her Fitzpatrick level, I'm going to put Neris at a level 5. That means that she is very dark and she does not burn very easily. In terms of oil production and acne grades, I'm going to put her at a normal level of oil, so it's very even across her face. It's not too much, it's not too little, and she also doesn't get very much acne. Just because I haven't seen that a whole lot in the show, I think she does have freckles, and I think that's adorable.
That is pretty much the only skin condition I think she has, is just freckles, which is honestly just sun damage. I think when setting up Neris's skincare routine, she'd want something that has a lot of steps to it. I feel like she's one of those people who finds extra steps when taking care of yourself to be something more relaxing and beneficial. Very understandable, very relatable. That's why I have like 7 different serums. Sorry, Chad, I got real thrown off because my tapestry just arrived. It's a Markiplier tapestry, and it makes me giggle incredibly hard. So, I gotta lock back in. I would recommend her cleansing twice daily with a gel or a cream cleanser. If the cream cleanser feels a little bit too heavy, that's fine. I would say switch to a foam cleanser. Everyone's different. I feel like she'd like a foam cleanser a little bit better, which is why I say that specifically. After that, I would recommend a toning mist if she wants to use one. They're a pretty optional treatment, which is why you don't tend to hear a lot about them, but they're very good, especially for summer if you feel like you're overheating or your skin's really dry and you just need that bit of hydration. For a mask, I think she would use something calming or soothing, maybe something like one of those one-time use masks. I feel like she'd use a lot of those because in some places you can actually just get them as like a free sample. She's so real for that. I've done that before. I've just gone in somewhere to get a free mask sample. But outside of that, if she were to have a mask of her own, it'd probably be something calming or soothing, maybe even brightening just to help reduce the freckles. But that's really it, honestly. Honestly, I think actually if she wanted something brightening, she would most likely go for a serum instead of a mask. So, vitamin C serum is getting added to the list because that is the best for tightening and brightening and helping to reduce blemishes like dark spots or from picking at acne. The final step of a routine is a moisturizer. So I think I'm going to recommend a gel or a cream moisturizer just because those tend to be best if you have normal skin. If that feels a little bit too heavy, then honestly, a watery or lightweight one, that's what I tend to use. Just, I hate cream textures. I don't like them. For services for Neris, I think she honestly kind of makes it like a whole event. Like she has a day at the spa. She just enjoys herself, treats herself, relaxes after a hard day's work. And I love that for her. So 90-minute facial, all the add-ons, having the best time of her life. That's it for Neris. Now on to Space Kid. Space Kid, or Neil Armstrong Jr., as he is canonically named, is there for space camp. He's very ditzy and clumsy, very cute, and he has a hard time remembering things. He's also 8, so, a little bit of forgiveness there. One thing about Space Kid is that he is always wearing a helmet, which is just a fishbowl turned upside down, and he hardly ever takes it off, so it's a little bit hard to tell what kind of face he has, what kind of skin he has, but I'm gonna guess he's out of Fitzpatrick too. And I say that because the brief times we've seen without a helmet, he looks very pale, similar to Harrison, but not nearly as pale as someone like Preston or Neil. For skin type, I'm gonna say Space Kid has dry skin, and I'll get into why I think that in a second. And for skin acne levels, we're gonna put him at an acne grade 1. Again, it's not really a specifically mentioned issue for him, so I don't see a need to put him anywhere higher. Now for skin conditions, and this might be a little bit controversial, but I do think Space Kid may actually have a skin disorder known as anhydrosis. Anhydrosis is defined as the distinct lack of ability to sweat, and people with anhydrosis tend to have dry skin or some skin problems that come with that. The reason I think he has anhydrosis is because, number one, he doesn't seem to sweat in the show, and I'm probably wrong. I probably am very, very wrong, but in the episodes where they're distinctly like overheating and some of the characters are shown sweaty, Space Kid is just not one of them for some reason. Another piece of supporting evidence is the fact that Space Kid is always seen wearing cardboard, but that cardboard never has any like proper damage to it outside of being taped so that he can, actually wear it as a shirt. I know him constantly wearing cardboard is part of his animation, but you know what? Whatever, it works. With Space Kid having anhydrosis, that actually really narrows down what kind of routine we're going to have. It's going to start with a twice cleanse, always, obviously, with a gel or a cream cleanser, because even if he didn't have anhydrosis, I still do think he has dry skin. And then after that, I would absolutely recommend a toner for him. That's going to be very important because when you are very dry, you need moisture very quickly, and with anhydrosis, you have no natural way to cool yourself down. Using a toning mist and giving yourself that quick little spritz might be a really good way to get yourself just a little bit cooler in a really short amount of time. After that, I'd recommend a mask once a week. I'd prefer if you did 2 masks once a week, which is actually something you very much can do. You can stack them, like no one's stopping you. One of them would be hydrating and the other would be cooling because, again, no cooling system, so getting red very easily is a very big problem. Quick clarification, by stack them, I mean use one right after the other. Don't actually stack them on top of each other, please. After the mask, I'd recommend if you wanted to use a serum, probably a calming or soothing one, just to, again, reduce redness or help with that kind of irritation. I don't think he'd use a serum though, so I'm not going to put that on there. And for moisturizer, anything gel or cream would be the best for him because it pushes moisture into the face, which he really really needs. Can you tell he needs moisture? Now for services, I think Space Kid might be one of those guys who kind of grows up to be a little bit afraid to get a service, but if he did, it would probably be a short 30-minute facial. And I think that is everyone, Neris, Harrison, and Space Kid. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And if you want to go ahead and subscribe or follow me in any other platforms, then go ahead. My name is HollyHeart13 on Instagram and TikTok. There's gonna be a part three. I'm gonna do everyone. I got a whole list of them planned out, so stay tuned for that. All right, thank you. Bye bye.